Thanks everyone for joining. Still just waiting a couple minutes to get this kicked off.
Yeah, we'll start here in 10 minutes. We'll wait for people to start trickling in.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. Good to see you, Harvey. As always.
Absolutely.
So baseball is officially back on, and big moves have been made. Being a Braves fan, Freddie Freeman go to the Dodgers, pretty upsetting.
Oh, I didn't even hear that it was back on. And when did that happen? How far back am I?
I think a week ago is when it officially ended. So spring training's begun. I think the first homer's already been done. So, I think go live is April 8th or something like that.
Okay.
So very limited spring season.
Well, they will hope they play enough games to have some practice built in there.
Got to break the rust off though in spring season.
Yeah, looks like they'll be doing that first few games.
Thanks again for everyone joining. We'll be kicking this off very shortly. Thanks to those that just joined. We'll be kicking this off pretty shortly. Paul, were you talking to us or someone else?
We can't hear you.
Darn it, I didn't grab my coffee yet. I was double muted. I was saying, if any of you guys, while we wait for everyone to hop on, if any of you guys want to discuss what your background is, if any exposure to Nutanix, or what you guys are looking forward to learning in this class, I'll open it up to you guys.
Paul, do you have, are you the host? Or is Claire?
Yeah,
still
Claire
have
gave it
host?
to me. How do I give it back to you?
You don't have to. I was just gonna
pass the microphone around.
I went to go look to see if I could unmute or give people the ability to talk, and I saw that I could not. So that's all I was asking.
No, I'm giving that to you. I don't want it. Too much power. Here we go. I'll make Kristen host too. She's running the presentation today.
Great.
There we go. I don't want the power. It's too much to handle.
Again, if anyone wants to go off mute and talk about what they're looking to understand from today's call, or talk a little bit about your background, more than happy to have you join the conversation.
Please do. Yes.
Yeah, Alex and I, we don't bite. Harvey might, but we don't.
Hi, I'm Sandro. I don't see myself on the screen, but hopefully you can see me. I manage a law firm in Bermuda. We run Nutanix, Haiku, and XenTegra in the back.
Oh, nice.
And I'm just looking for if I'm using all the bells and whistles, and just pretty much overviewing the Nutanix stuff. Currently, I'm in the midst of reviewing Veeam BNR version 11 to see if I can use some sort of hot VM way of minimizing my risk.
Are you running Veeam on XenTegra?
Yeah, actually.
Okay. No worries.
Yeah, it's more tightly integrated to the VMware. I'm also VMware back in the day, but yeah. They make use of an API that talks to the vMotion, but in this case, I'm trying to see what Veeam can do to restore to a different location. So try and do like a I've got a document management system that's very critical, mission critical, and Haiku, I'm not sure can handle those kind of scenarios. So I'm just trying to see what Veeam has these days. I was certified on Veeam around 7, I think a little bit of 8. So I want to see what 11 is going to bring to the table. So I just want to see if there's anything I can do with Nutanix as well. So that's why I joined.
We partner very heavily with both of them.
Yeah.
But we can definitely get you connected to the Veeam or Haiku rep that you need to talk to for a deeper dive. We do partner with them because they do have a virtual appliance that can be installed into our platform. So it's a single management GUI where you can just log into Nutanix and manage both Nutanix and Veeam and Haiku.
That's good.
Yeah, and with a single window. For your specific needs, we can bring in Veeam and talk about backups for there as well.
Yeah, I had we just bought a new platform, a new I think it's a G7.
Okay.
And it was missing a node for a while. While I did that, I stood up a temporary VMware environment and built the DMS system in there. It's 7 servers. They're very big, very powerful servers. And then I figured out how to port from VMware to Nutanix from VMDKs to QCOW2s.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, it can be done. It's a little tricky, and it actually does work with workstations as well, but it definitely works for servers. You just have to make sure the drivers are in place at the right time.
Yep.
And if they're not, you have to run a process to inject the drivers into the boot up. And then after that, it's just a question of getting them going. And yeah, it does work fairly well, actually. So I thought, see if I can't get Veeam to be able to back up from one Nutanix platform and restore to another Nutanix platform. So far, I haven't got that going yet, but
there's two different ways we can go about it. And then we can always have a side conversation on that as well. You can open up, you should have, I want to say, at least 1 or 2 terabytes free of objects that you can just open up and send backups to on your DR, or leverage the file system and replicate as well. Many different ways. We'll have a side conversation separately for that.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I don't want to hold everyone up, but it's doable if that was the concern.
I hoped it would be.
Yes, it is. Yes.
Thanks.
Do we want to start with some quick introductions ourselves, Paul? And
Yeah.
Harvey?
I was going to start at 10:10. I guess we can start now. It's already 10:12. Harvey, I'll let you kick it off. You're on mute again, Harvey.
No, he's waiting.
All
There we
right,
go.
had to find the mute button. So I am Harvey Green. I wear a couple different hats here, but I am one of the lead solutions architects at XenTegra. Also run the XenTegra Gov business. So anybody on who's state and local government, maybe education, maybe federal, you'll see and hear from me a lot more in the future, hopefully, if you choose to. Happy Friday to everybody. Thanks for joining today. We're excited to be able to move into showing you guys some things, hopefully, that you don't know. So we'll have a pretty interactive session today. Don't, feel free to come off mute and ask your questions, or you can stick them in the chat. But definitely looking forward to going through this with you. So Mr. Paul.
Yep.
My
Good morning,
co-host.
guys. So my name is Paul Nguyen, Senior SC here at Nutanix. I work alongside Alex Kluger. Alex, I'll pass it over to you.
Yeah, so Alex Kluger with Nutanix team on the sales side. So great to meet everybody. Sandra, sounds like there's an open invitation to come to Bermuda. I'm fully going to take that.
Bring your golf clubs.
Yeah, oh man.
Oh,
It's
well,
really
easy.
hot here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. It's nice here. It's nice. Yeah.
Um,
We're in the season
so-
right now, believe it or not.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thanks for everybody joining. I'm very excited about this call. Please reach out if you want to follow up on anything specific that we address or don't address. And again, just thanks for joining.
Yeah, and Kristen, if you want to do a quick intro.
Sure. Hi. Sorry, I'm fighting a cold, so I sound horrible. My name is Kristen Gothier. I am a channel SE. I'm a peer to Paul's, basically, and I'm new to Nutanix, so I'll just be sitting and observing today. Nice to meet everyone.
Cool. Glad to have you on. And
Hello.
yeah, we have about, I think, 7 people on the call right now, Harvey. If you guys don't mind, Sandra already started, but if you guys don't mind just getting to know each other, what your role in your company, any exposure to Nutanix, what are you guys looking to learn in this class, and something to do for fun. I already know Sandra likes to golf. I'll kick it off to the next person on the list. Let's see here who we have. Abu B, you want to go first?
I think everyone's struggling with the mute button today.
It
Yeah.
is that kind of day.
We'll go with Anthony, if you don't mind, Anthony.
Yeah, hi, I'm calling from Vancouver, Canada. Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you loud and
Yes.
clear.
One
You
of
get
my
all the
favorite
resort
places.
locations.
Yeah, okay. No, we're actually existing Nutanix customers, so I'm just seeing what's new. Thank you very much.
Yeah, of course. And feel free, since you're already in Nutanix, feel free to ask any questions that's above the scope of this class. We can definitely discuss either during break or when they're doing labs as well. We can always have side conversations on whatever new or whatever piqued your interest there, Anthony. Sandeep, you're up next.
Guys, good morning. My name is Sandeep, and I work as a solutions architect in one of the insurance companies here in North America. And currently we're using VMware, and there was a point where probably 3 or 4 years ago, we did look at Nutanix when we were doing a bunch of hardware refresh to switch to Nutanix, but things didn't quite work out at that point. So I just wanted to catch up on what's new and greatest with Nutanix, so that in case there is a time where if we reevaluate stuff into the future in about a year or so, to see how things have progressed on Nutanix end and what is the value proposition.
Yeah, absolutely good timing. We did kind of, I wouldn't say rebrand, but we're moving towards a hybrid cloud company than just HCI. So we're definitely a different company now than even what we were a year or two ago. So a lot of new products, a lot of new visions, I would say, with the company. So it's definitely a good time to revisit and take a look at Nutanix again, for sure.
Excellent. Thank you again for setting this up.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Up next, Sandra, you already wet. Sean, if you don't mind.
Yeah, Sean, Omaha, Nebraska for me, work for a transportation company. We have an existing Nutanix footprint. We have a couple different groups that we use it for. My kind of scope is our VDI space. We're looking to expand this year, and just kind of with this class, just kind of looking to see things we might be missing with our existing space, or kind of see what's new and what we haven't seen before.
Yeah, you definitely came to the right place, because VDI is kind of our claim to fame when we started. I know Citrix just announced maybe a month or two ago that we're their preferred platform of choice. So that's pretty huge for us, because Citrix usually doesn't announce those kind of things. So you'll definitely, even in the labs, you'll see the benefit of VDI running on Nutanix for sure. Last but not least, I'm sure I'm going to say this name wrong. Jalil. Oh, he's not even on chat. Harvey, can you allow him to be able to talk? I don't think he's connected to audio yet. Oh, there we go.
There we go. Sorry.
Cool. Jill, if you don't mind giving us a quick introduction, what your role is, what you're looking for this class, and what you like to do for fun also as well, if you could. Cool. In any case, you can always put in chat as well. Harvey, let's go ahead and kick it off.
Sure. So before we jump into all of the Nutanix goodness, wanted to make sure that everybody on the phone got a little bit about XenTegra. Looks like we got a message in chat. Abul says he's having issues with his audio. Works for a transportation company and would like to see how they can use Nutanix in their current VM and VDI environment. So another
another
VDI conversation. Yep.
We'll definitely dive more into that for sure.
Yeah. So but yeah, so diving into a little bit about XenTegra, you can advance this. There we go. Thank you, Ms. Kristen. So just out of the bat, want to make sure that you guys know that XenTegra is giving away a Bronco. We're actually, this will get you into round 2 of it. We have one that that is going to be given away in the next couple months for round 1, but we're actually doing it again. So jump out to bronco.xentegra.com and sign up, register to win. And hopefully I'll be taking the test drive with you one day. So a little bit more about who XenTegra is. We are a value-added reseller that we put a real emphasis on value-added. We try to make sure that we are doing best to educate our customers and inform them so that they can make smart decisions. And by that, you'll see our commitment to that in things like classes like you're on today, where you're getting some hands-on hands-on labs, and some hands-on experience and abilities to jump in here and learn some new things. We also make sure that we've got some technical firepower to on the call with you to go through things like the questions earlier. So you can, again, feel free to ask questions outside of the scope of what we're doing, but you want to make sure that you're getting the information needed to make an educated and informed decision. So we also offer managed services, consulting services, and this is across a bunch of manufacturers. You can see down at the bottom, Citrix, VMware, Microsoft, Nutanix, ServiceNow, and IGEL. Those are our focus partners. We have a lot more, and we'll get to that. On the right there is XenTegra founder and CEO Andy Whiteside, and at a very basic level, to give you his short story, he was a solutions architect at Citrix, sales engineer is what they call him over there, and he was growing more and more frustrated with what he was seeing in the partner world because nobody was really looking out for the customer. So just sell the customer something and then say, haha, I'll see you in 3 years when it's time to renew. And so we are definitely very, very far away from that model. But again, want to make sure that you guys have what you need from an education and enablement standpoint so that you can make smart decisions, and we will be with you all the way along the way. So side by side as a true partner should be. Go ahead, Kristen. So XenTegra is a team of people. We calculated this up, and we've had some changes since we did this. I'm curious to see what the number is now, but we calculated it up across all of our consultants, our sales engineers, solutions architects, the leaders of the company. We ended up with 716, more than 716 years of end user compute experience. So suffice it to say, we've got a lot of experience for you to pull from across multiple disciplines, across multiple technologies, across multiple verticals, multiple industries. So definitely feel free to ask questions. We definitely appreciate the chance to be able to answer them. Again, this is Andy Whiteside, and his quote here is, XenTegra is born out of a need for customer enablement and true partnership. And again, that's what you'll see out of us as a strategy and as a focus, is that we're going to work with you guys to be a true partner to you. We've had plenty of customer success. We also get recognized by some of our vendors at times. This is from when we won Citrix Worldwide Partner of the Year. This was 2022, not 2022, it's 2022 now. Sorry, 2020. My mind, it's Friday. But this is, a good portion of the crew that we had this was for Citrix Partner of the Year. We've won Citrix Partner of the Year a couple times, IGEL Partner of the Year a couple times. We are still working on our Nutanix Partner of the Year. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. So anyway, either way, we'll be happy to help you out. What we value the most is that we're the customer partner of the year. So as long as we're doing right by you guys, the vendor awards are great, but we are much happier to have you guys be very happy with us. Events.xentegra.com is our site where we host all of our events. There are some like this where you can jump on and get training. There are also events that we're doing. We've started back doing a lot of in-person events. Hockey games, baseball games are coming back around now. Yay. Basketball games. So we're doing those. We're also doing, just some events that are, a different setting that's not a sports setting. I think a week or so ago, we did one that was at a steakhouse. So We've got a lot going on. I would encourage you to just go out to the site and take a look at what's available for your area or for virtual, like we're doing today. And feel free to, jump on and register for anything we have. Webinars.XenTegra.com. This is for our Webinar Wednesday series. We have a webinar each week where we, sometimes 2 a week, where we explore a different technology or a different piece of a technology where something is new or new features, just to make sure that you guys are keeping abreast of what's out there, what's available for you. So we'd love for you to jump on the webinars with us. Those are normally Wednesdays at 11 or 2 Eastern. Podcast.XenTegra.com is where we have a listing of all the podcasts that we do. Some of them are weekly, like Nutanix. I actually co-host the Nutanix Weekly podcast with Andy Whiteside, the founder of XenTegra, and also Jaira Cox, who's a XenTegra sales engineer. I mean, oh my gosh, a Nutanix sales engineer. Paul, what's going on?
It's Friday. It's Friday.
It's definitely Friday. So this is kind of a listing of some of our customers that we work with. The main takeaway here is that we've got a very diverse customer base. You'll see on here, batteries, healthcare, hospitals, financial, education. You even got HBO on there. We work with a lot of different companies for a lot of different use cases and a lot of different things. So we very much pride ourselves on being end-to-end and being able to run the gamut for whatever is needed from a customer standpoint. So don't be afraid to ask any questions, or don't think that you're too big or too small. We can definitely take care of what you need. Again, as a provider to you guys of services, solutions, we can also resell any of the technologies that we partner with. Actually, that's good. I didn't see that slide. Partners.XenTegra.com is where you can go and actually see all of the partners that we partner with. I believe at this point, the number is close to 80. So it's a lot. It's a lot of different vendors that we work with. Thankfully, I don't have to know everything about every single one of them, because that would be untenable for me. Yeah. I can definitely help with Nutanix. So again, this is kind of giving you more in depth of what we can do, but even this, being more in depth is still very much a splash in the pot here of what we can take care of for you. But we do have, again, consulting services, managed services. We also do hosting. We can be your cloud, we can be your DR, and we use Nutanix in our data centers as well. So for those of you who are already Nutanix customers who don't have any DR or backup, we can serve as your secondary site. You can replicate directly to us. And in the event of a disaster, we can have your VMs come up. So don't be afraid to ask us for whatever you need. We are very creative, and we will make sure that you get what you need. There it is, partners.XenTegra.com. See, now I'm getting ahead of myself. But again, this is where you can go and see all of the different technology vendors that we partner with. And we've got experts all across the spectrum. Again, I will not know all of them. That is a gift and a curse. Sometimes I do want to know more than I know, but we can all only know so much. So I've got a great team of people behind me that can take over where I fall short, and I do the same for them. And we just make sure, again, that you guys get what you need so that you and your environment aren't falling short. XenTegra Connect is our our provider that we use for our managed and hosting services. I shouldn't say our provider because they're a part of XenTegra, but they're a different team of people who are dedicated to that. They also have a support desk that is 24/7, 365 staffed. They are based out of Alpharetta, Georgia, which is right outside of Atlanta, for those who know where that is. Our engineers are all within the United States, and although based in Alpharetta, we do have them scattered across as well, so that we can make sure that you've got the kind of coverage that you need, so that we can provide 24/7 to you. This is a list of our cloud partners that we're partnering with: Nutanix, Citrix, VMware, Microsoft. Anything across this stack we'll be able to help you with. Again, we've got experts all through all of these categories. So there's plenty that you can talk to me about. I'd love to talk to you more about anything, but if you get past me on something out of here, then we've got somebody who can take over from there. So definitely ask the questions, and maybe hopefully if you do ask something that I don't know, hopefully I learned something with you. XenTegra also has a staffing division. You can go out to jobs.xentegra.com to take a look at what we have available if you are looking for a job. We also have the ability, if you are looking for a future employee, we can source that person for you, kind of send them through the ringer, and make sure that they have the skills that you need, so that the hiring part is easier on you. We can kind of take some of the risk out of that as well, with vetting and things like that beforehand. But definitely reach out to us if you have an opportunity or a position you want to fill, and we will do what we can to help you fill it. Free assessment. So at XenTegra, we do a lot of things free for our customers and our future customers. Today is a perfect example of that. We're jumping on to actually get some hands-on with Nutanix, and we've got some, again, some Nutanix powerhouses on here for you to ask questions and make sure that you get what you want out of today's session. We also do free micro assessments. These are across a bunch of different technologies. Off the top of my head, Citrix, Microsoft, VMware, ServiceNow, iGel, SQL, networking. So we got a bunch of different things that we can do kind of to make sure that we are helping you identify any weak points or anything that we can help you do to get back to best practices, or to get back to the most secure and the most optimal deployment for you and your end users. Calls to action here. We can help you plan for the future. We can quote what it takes for you to get there if you need something new outside of what you already have. We can demo any technology that we offer, and we can also get the professional services in front of you to either help you through implementation or optimization, or just to do it for you and turn back over to you some documentation so that you're then able to run it. Again, we do continue from that. If you want us to actually run it and manage it for you, we do offer managed services. And if you say just completely keep me out of it, then we will host it and support it for you. We've got packages for that too. So again, we want to make sure that we are an end-to-end type partnership with you, and we want to make sure that you get what you need in order to make your environment run the way that you envision it to. And that is my spiel. So any questions about anything that you heard about XenTegra, or that anything just burning your mind after I talked for all that time?
Questions on the Bronco? Anyone?
Yes. Yeah. Any questions on the Bronco? The one for this year is green. It is kind of we'll call it a forest green or a hunter green. It is sitting in a garage waiting on the winter. I had to make sure that nobody's driving it around.
What's this? What's for the Bronco?
So we are giving away a Bronco. The drawing, well, the entries for this year are already cast. We are pulling that drawing, I believe, in May, but we are doing it again for 2023. So if you go out to bronco.xentegra.com, you can actually go out there and register today, so that we can get you in the drawing for the next one that we're giving away.
We we don't really use cars here. There's like 65,000 population. There's 127,000 scooters on the island, something like that. It's very few cars. If you want a car, you have to take a car off and bring a car on.
What about
All
like ATVs? Is that what people are called for?
No, ATVs are not allowed. Dirt bikes and everything have to be in a controlled dirt area. The only thing that are allowed are cars, but they have to be approved by the transportation division, and scooters, many scooters. You can have as many scooters as you like.
Well,
Cars.
question then, if you're on a golf course, do they make you walk it, or is it allowed on there?
No, they it's funny because when we have the PGA here, it's one of the few places that they make the PGA players getting in the cart. Normally they walk the PGA tournaments, but here they actually put them in a cart. It's an unusual situation here. But they do have golf carts, of course, but you see a lot of people coming to work in suits or with their golf clubs in front of them in suits. It's a weird place, I've got to say. It's just a weird place. You start doing double takes as you see people carrying air conditioners on scooters. It's strange.
So I'm assuming you didn't live there your whole life. So when did you move there?
I moved here in 2015, but this is not my first island. This is not my first island, but I mean, it's spectacularly beautiful, but it is very odd. It's odd in ways that you don't realize. So if you come down here, just prepare to be surprised by things you see sometimes.
Interesting. Okay.
Let's set up a meeting there.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely, I definitely need some on-site consultation.
Yeah, we'll be there.
Wow, the Bronco's beautiful. Wow, the Bronco's beautiful. Wow. Cool, guys. Sorry, go on. Sorry, just a little sidebar there. Go there.
I do like to keep my presentation interactive. I do better talking just to myself and Harvey.
He's tired of listening to me.
Conversations. It's a small group today, so let's all get to know each other for sure.
Great.
So when I do my presentation, this is usually my one-on-one to new customers or new partners alike. To understand HCI, we kind of have to take a quick step backwards a little bit. This is what most customers are familiar with if you're not already using hyperconvergence, is the old three-tiered architecture. That's where you have your server, you connect your network to a SAN fabric in the back end, right? The three-tier architecture does cause a little bit of issue. We do want to modernize that through HCI. I call this the 80-20 rule. 80% of your time on a three-tier architecture is maintaining and running the infrastructure. You're going to need specialized skills for different three-tiered, careful integration. Right, your networking might be Cisco, your servers might be Dell, your stores might be NetApp, right? That's 3 different vendors you have to integrate together. That could cause longer planning cycles and upgrades and patching. Right, 80% of your time is spent on running the infrastructure and not what actually makes you money, or if your federal customer, what achieves your mission goals. What you do want to work on, right, is your profit value of the customer, of you guys. Other challenges, right? Let's say you're a VM admin and you need more storage for your VM. What if the storage admin goes out on vacation? You're gonna have to wait for that guy to come back to even expand out your data store. You're siloed out between the 3 different tier in your own company as well, with that 3-tier environment. So Nutanix, what HCI is doing when we modernize your infrastructure, all of those 3 tiers are now collapsed into a 2U appliance. If you call it a cloud in the box that you guys are purchasing. That includes, right, you can put on any platform hardware you like. Nutanix is a software company. And it will grow as you need. We'll add virtualization layer on top. If you're a VMware customer, you can run EXXI, Hyper-V. We do have our own hypervisor pre-built into the product. So it's truly plug and play right out of the box. If you need to do that as well. We are seeing about a 70 to 80% adoption rate over to our AHV hypervisor now, definitely in the federal space. But we are seeing about 70 to 80 adoption rate. You see K8 there. We do have container orchestration built in as well. We are partnering heavily with Red Hat for OpenShift for your Kubernetes orchestration. Yep, and it's going in there that we're integrating compute, storage, virtualization network, and security. And a 2U appliance, doesn't matter what OEM you go with, Dell, HPE, Lenovo, IBM, your choice. We don't vendor lock you to anything. Where you feel comfortable with using, we can place our AOS Nutanix software on it to create that HCI cloud in the box.
For us, moving to HCI was massive in areas that we didn't really realize would be so beneficial. I mean, I literally decommissioned a whole NetApp rack with three servers and a storage array in the whole rack.
Yep.
And the whole thing was literally changed to one Nutanix 2U in another rack.
Yeah,
The power, the cooling. I mean, honestly, it's saving us somewhere in the neighborhood of 6,500 a year, yeah, 6,500 a year in electricity in the same room. It's insane that you can take a whole rack and minimize it to a 2U box. I mean, the box is big and heavy, but still it's 2U compared to an entire rack of cables and power and heat, and it's amazing. Honestly, don't even need the size of the data centers anymore. I don't need them.
Absolutely.
I can run the thing on a half a rack. Hey, look at this.
Which one you're right. I put this.
Which one of you guys is that? Who's that? Which one of you guys is in there? Harvey, Cole?
That's
It was me.
Yeah, I threw this picture in there. It makes everyone laugh in the call. But I'm sure you guys have seen this in your data center or customer data center as well. Wires everywhere, labels everywhere. There's a lot cleaner and neater on the right-hand side. So definitely appreciate that, Sandra. It's very powerful to hear from a customer the advantages of modernizing it to Nutanix. And also all the Windows as well. You said you use NetApp. You know, NetApp has like 2 or 3, 4 of their own, right? For backup replication, to their filers, NetApp has a bunch of GUIs you can log in already. On top of if you're using Cisco, you can log into your UCS, Dell server, you log into that. With Nutanix, it's a single GUI. You manage all 3 in your data center on the right-hand side. And then also alluded to, if you're using Veeam or HiQ, you can do your backups from this GUI as well. So very, very powerful there. We are partnering also besides Veeam and HiQ, if there's an interest rate. Veritas, Commvault, Rubrik Cruci is also can back up Nutanix AHV. If you're using EXXI, you can use any backup vendor that can back up EXXI. But we do partner very heavily with Veeam and HiQ. So you're in good hands with Veeam for sure. Cool. So I alluded to a little earlier that we're more than HCI now. I'll say within a year or 2 ago, we were branding ourselves as the Nutanix, the hybrid cloud company. So what does that mean? Again, we are software, so we can live wherever you need it to live. We want to be that multi-cloud approach. So we can put AOS on public cloud as well as on-prem on your private data center. So we can put it on AWS, bare metal, soon Azure, or another cloud provider you guys like to use, or any other data center like Equinix or Rackspace or whatnot. We do have our own cloud data center as well, which we call Xi Cloud. Everything is going to, since it's running on our data fabric, right? Everything will be managed through the Nutanix GUI. One-click deployment, you can deploy application wherever you need, and then we can also move it from cloud to cloud. So you don't vendor lock you somewhere. For example, you put it like a container or a VM out in AWS, you want to move it back on-prem, say a database, you can. If you figure out you have a lot of burst data on-prem that you want to move out the cloud for savings, we can move it back and forth as well through Nutanix to a product called Calm, but we can do that with a single click within Nutanix. Again, I just put this on the presentation. It is above the scope of this class, but we can have further discussions if hybrid cloud or AWS is interest. Again, we're putting our Nutanix software on AWS bare metal. With that said, any right product within AWS, you can leverage as well. Their VPCs, their RDS, their Lambda, everything available in AWS will be available through Nutanix clusters in the cloud as well. So a couple of use cases for this, lift and shift, you need to move anything out to the cloud for that elasticity. Native cloud services, like I mentioned with AWS, and a lot of customers are using this for business continuity. We can send backup directly to their S3, and then from there you can move to Glacier, IA, or how you like. We can send up backups to AWS as well there for your environment. So for any customers out there, if you need a quick DR environment, this could be an option. We have something called Xi Leap. If you remember, Xi is our cloud provider. We do provide Xi Leap as well for DR as a service, if that's an interest to anyone. I'll take a quick pause there. Question, concern, comments. We announced this a year or two ago, so if anyone looked at Nutanix before, this is definitely a new concept for us. And this is the vision moving forward is the hybrid cloud approach. I'll pause there for any question, concern, comments. Or anyone here have, I guess, interest or looking into moving to the cloud? I guess sort of start asking with that first.
Sandeep had a chat question on the storage.
So Snap Vault is for NetApp. We can replicate with our own files. It's in the next couple of slides. So within Nutanix, we can do 3 modes in Nutanix cluster, right? We can do block, files, and object in a single Nutanix cluster. We can help you migrate your NetApp data on tap over to Nutanix as well, if that's a need. Yep. This slide here just hammers home that we're not vendor locking you to anything. Again, hypervisor of choice, VMware, Hyper-V, AHV is built in already to be able to use, included. Hardware of choice, whatever your platform you guys like to use, or if you want to go to the cloud or both, you can see all the options there as well. Cool. So under the hood, what Nutanix looks like is web scale architecture. To understand that is to kind of understand how we came to be. Dheeraj, our founder, actually came from Google and all of our top level execs. While working at Google, they found out how difficult it was to grow and expand petabytes and petabytes of data as Google has, you can imagine. So they're finding it difficult to do that with a point SAN solution. So what they did is they create their own Google file system. Right, that's to create a software-defined storage, add in white label servers or nodes. So if they need to grow, just keep adding more servers. If something breaks, they'll take it out, self-heal, and add more servers back into it so they can fill fast, grow fast, and expand fast. We took that same Google file system approach and we kind of just relabel it Distributed Storage Fabric, DSF. But that's basically the Google file system. We package that into 2U appliance, so make it easier consumable to the mid-market and enterprise customers as yourselves. So you guys are literally getting a Google Cloud experience in a 2U box there for you within Nutanix. Going back to this picture here, so you can see in the middle, there's something said the CVM. The CVM is the most powerful tool within Nutanix. It's kind of what makes Nutanix Nutanix. If you remember, I said VDI is our biggest claim to fame when we started it out. If any of you guys used VDI before, let's say, for example, you have a very fast SAN. No matter how fast that SAN is, you're still being bottlenecked by those two. Usually it comes with 2 controllers. But say you have 100 servers or like 1,000 VDI users, all logging at once. It doesn't matter how fast your SAN is, they're going to get bottlenecked into those physical controllers. I had this happen before at my old company where I would type something, and then 5 seconds, 10 seconds later, it'll start typing out. It was kind of scary at first, right? But that's because of the bottlenecking boot store effect that's getting clogged in those 2 physical controllers. We eliminate that problem by putting those controllers, we virtualize them on every single node, which in turn gives you more swim lanes into Nutanix. Think of it as a house with more doors, more windows to access that house. So we virtualize all those physical controllers into what we call a controller virtual machine, or the CVM. The CVM also is where we house our Prism element, per se. So Prism element is like VMware vCenter, where you manage your cluster. So if one CVM goes down, right, you can log into other CVMs and still manage your environment, because each of them houses our Prism element, right, management tool or management console. Question, concern, comments on that, and then we'll add in the AHV, not AHV, EXI, or Hyper-V to virtualize out the environment. Need to grow more storage, we'll just add more nodes to that environment there. Question, concern, comments? Cool. Again, the DSF is where we do our snapshots, our data locality, which we'll dive into. It's a big buzzword within Nutanix, and that's how we differentiate ourselves from other software-defined storage as well within that. The compression DR, creating clones, data tiering is all done in the DSF, which is our software-defined storage. Cool. What you're looking at here is the NX model, which is super micro. Again, there you can do Dell, HP, Lenovo. Just let you guys get a picture of what an appliance looks like. This one is a 1 block 4 chassis 4 blade environment. So you can see there's 4 blade there with storage, compute memory in each blade. We are running a hybrid model. So 2 of those would be SSD and the other 4 will be HDD. We can do hot and cold tiering. So I'll land on SSD first and then tier out. However, we do have all flash models as well for anyone that needs that flash performance. And we do also have NVMe models for you guys as well there. Cool. We'll create a normal storage pool. You would only need 1, and you could only create 1 in the cluster. And once you create that storage pool, oh, I don't have that slide. You go ahead and create containers, which are basically the same thing as a VMware data store, and that's where you house all your VMDKs, or if you go over to AHV, your cube house. Cool. Data locality is a big feature of ours. It's how we differentiate ourselves from other products and other vendors out there. When you store data, it will always reside in the same node as your VM. So it will never reside on a different node. You would never have to traverse to a different server to retrieve your data. So it's always local. It's going to be fast. In the traditional software-defined storage, right? Say VM lives in node 1. With software-defined, your data could live in the storage of node 3, right? Which in turn you have to hop through the network to fetch that data. With us, node 1, server 1, VM 1 will always have storage in node 1. You're never hopping throughout the network. RF3, I'll skip this. I'll go pretty quick because I want to show you. Normally I do a whiteboard, but I'll have it on the PowerPoint. Hopefully I'll do it a little justice, but usually, yeah, whiteboard is always more simple and more fun, but hopefully I'll do it justice. But replication factor is how we do our redundancy for failover, right? Again, we'll start out with 3 nodes to start out. When we store the first data block, we'll create a copy of that data block and put it on another node. Reasons for 3 nodes is for n+1 redundancy. If you want n+2 or whatnot, bigger environment, we can do replication factor of 3, which create 2 copies. But with 2 copies, we would need to start out with 5 nodes. Those are usually for the larger enterprise customers. Mid-market usually goes for RF2, starting out with 3 nodes. Again, we do hot and cold tiering. I'll skip this really quick because I do want to get to the slide here. Again, I usually whiteboard this, so hopefully this does a little bit of a justice. Again, this will go over data locality and how we read and write and how it's different from other vendors. So you can see here, this is running a 3-node cluster. You can see the guest VM right now is sitting on node 1. When we write our data, you can see we're writing in blocks, and those blocks will be written locally. Notice how none of the blocks are written to node 2 or 3. So if you need to read it, it's always local to where the VM resides. We'll do that RF2 that I alluded to, right? So it creates a copy of each of those blocks and it stripes it across the environment. So if there was a node failure, there'll be that block and another node. And again, if you want to do RF3, you have an extra copy of it. We'll have 5 nodes running instead of 3. Cool. Again, data is read locally. In case if you're doing vMotion, if the VM migrates over, let's say you want to read that light blue. It's already data locality, there's already light blue there, so I'll go ahead and read it. If you need to read yellow or dark blue with data locality, those blocks will move over to where guest VM moved over, hence data locality.
So basically it's doing a storage vMotion and a VM vMotion simultaneously.
Correct, yeah.
All right.
CVM autopathing. So what happens if your CVM goes down in a node? Again, you have 3 of them, right? They do send heartbeats, pings to one another, so they'll know if one fails. The CVM is also where you house your metadata. So each CVM will know where all the blocks are located. So let's say node 1, CVM goes down. CVM 2 will go ahead and take its place and read and write those blocks from there. Question, concern, comments? I'm missing a slide here, but same scenario would happen if you lose a whole entire node. DRS will kick in, right? So I'll go ahead and HA and move the guest VM to node 2 and all the blocks, all the tier and all the blocks within it.
It's a kind of downtime if literally you drop a node. I mean, with VMware, it's basically the vMotion takes care of it with like one interruption and a ping.
Mm-hmm.
What's the real world delay or latency for literally if I go over to my Nutanix and pull out a node, simulating if it's failure, literally rip it out of the device.
If you size it correctly for n+1, milliseconds almost, a second maybe. Here's an example of what would look like. I have a 5-node cluster here, right? Let's say node 1 fails. This is running n+2, by the way.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah.
N+1 slide. But that goes down. HA kicks in. VM gets moved over. CVM2 takes its place. And then it's going to auto balance to create those blocks. And
Yeah,
it'll do RF2 within the 4.
Hold on, Paul. The node went down. So how does it move? It's down. You say the node moves over, but it's down. It can't move from there if it just literally drops. If I go over to the Nutanix, rip the node right out, where else is it that it just starts up? Because it's not moving from the node that just dropped.
I love that question. I call that a simulated power failure.
Like when you say it moves, it's got to already be somewhere else, and it just literally becomes the active copy, right? There's no real moving going on from something that just dropped.
Correct. So it kind of does vMotion, right? Similar to that scenario on HA within VMware.
Right.
And since the blocks are already there, it'll just move over and rebuild itself from there. And it'll create copies of what's left and rebalance in auto tiers.
Yeah. So it's looks like it's splitting the. It's got to have the information. The CVMs probably share the information. Is that right?
Correct. With the metadata. Yeah. Each of them
with
has
the metadata.
Correct. Yep.
All right. So it's almost like with VMware, the storage is in the back, the files are coming from, redundant storage units. So basically it's just changing the career, it's changing the path to the whatever's presenting it. But Nutanix does it slightly differently, right? I'm really a little bit unclear on how it does that. So if I walk over there literally and rip that node right out, like literally rip it out, because you can't pull the power out because the power is distributed. But if I literally pull that node out, I shouldn't see any interruption in my VMs.
No, it auto balance, and the data is already there, right? Because it has the copies. And
has the copies.
That's where the CVM auto pathing.
Gotta love to try that.
Let's do that in the lab.
I keep my job. I like to do that. Keep my job. Can you guarantee that for me? So no, when I was getting banks and stuff to use vMotion and VMware, I literally would go and I'd turn the server off. I'd literally just literally turn it off. I'd literally drop it. And they'd just be freaking out. They go, "We're in the middle of an audit." I'm like, "Yeah." And I'll call the financial guy. I'm like, "So how's it going?" He's like, "What do you want?" "I'm busy." I said, "Any problems?" She's like, "No, I'm busy. What do you want?" I'm like, "Okay, we just turned your server off." He goes, "No, you didn't." I said, "All right, sorry, wrong server, bye." Right. And they had no idea. And I'd look at the other executives, go and see, no idea. That's what you spent your money on. I just showed you what would happen in the power failure. Well, that's because they're like, "Oh, this looks very nice." And I yanked the power out. They're like, "What did you do?" I said, "I just literally dropped one of your devices as it would be in a real world," and called the CFO. And he's like, "Yeah, I'm busy. Go away." And he had no idea.
I'm glad you brought it up. We do have a product called XenLeap that can test out fire drills and failure scenarios for you to send reports to your manager or whoever you report to. You can see that in case of a DR scenario, it works.
Yeah.
And people do that once a year, once a half. With XenLeap as well.
Yeah, we have industry reporting, and they're getting, I don't know if it's like that in the States, but here they're getting really, we're a small island, so issues can have, countrywide effects, Paradise Papers. Yeah, I said it.
Yeah.
So what as a result of that are the people the bodies that we have to report to are getting more and more interested in how are we actually doing it, and are we training our people? Yes. Well, how are they doing? Can you send us reports on how they're doing? So they're really getting, I'm not saying nosy, but they're more and more interested in what we're actually doing, and if it works. Like, have you done your testing? Okay, well, how did you do your testing? Does it really work, or did you send us reports saying, yeah, we tested it, it worked? How did you do your testing, and is it good enough for you? And this kind of stuff. So we're a little shy, we're a little weak on the DR, and our BC is sort of non-existent. But
we can see XenLeap for that.
Yeah, I'm looking. Yeah, I wrote it down. I'm gonna have a quick look at that. But having those kind of testing and doing a real drill, saying, "Listen, we're fine. If we drop, we're fine," because we literally have done it already.
Yeah.
Then they'll go away right after that.
It's like having car insurance. Like you hate to pay it, but you're glad you have it when something happens.
He's trying to convince these lawyers to spend money when they don't
Yeah,
need to, and nothing's
yeah.
happened. I was just like, so again, but since honestly, believe if you want to look at this whole COVID-19 thing, we've basically been working through BC scenarios twice in the last 2 years.
Mhm.
People having to go home. We got quarantine. So, all right. So here we go. Business continuity level 1. Can everyone connect in? Great. How's the speed? Can they get to all their files? So we've literally been living through 2 business continuity events these last 2 years.
Yeah.
So that conversation is a lot easier for me to have with management about, hey, what if we get kicked out of the building? And before they went, yeah, forget it, Sandra. It's never going to happen. I'm like, really? Because it's already been twice now. What if something happens? And they're taking it more seriously. So
good. Yeah.
on the plus side, I don't really have to convince them too much that, when we did well. We push a lot of papers. So our BC scenario was as good as it's going to get. We're running about 80% of what we normally run at because we have to push paper. And since we're home, we can't do anything, but other than buying a hell of a lot more laptops, we were functioning fairly well, better than expected. So I'm having that conversation a lot easier now is what I wanted to say.
Yeah, good. It takes a little bit of a shake for people to start realizing that.
Yeah.
Cindy, I think I see your hand
Cindy's got
raised.
his hand up.
Yeah, Paul. So just to tag along or add on to what Sandra was asking. So in this slide, say for example, on the first node, the VM, the node goes down, the VM goes down along with that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the only downtime that someone is actually going to see, or the disruption to the application or the VM or whatever that is for that particular VM to power on either of the rest of the 4 nodes.
Correct. Yeah.
That's correct.
So whatever the power on time is, maybe a second, 2 seconds, or whatever that is before it
Correct. Yep.
and it is on the network, and then it realizes that, okay, the application and everything is up and running.
Correct. Yep.
Okay. All right.
We can also do, for larger environments, we can also do block and rack awareness. So if someone trips a wire to the whole rack, we can also have it replicate to a rack, the second rack. So we can be rack aware as well for larger customers.
But that's still HA though. That one rack
HA, yes.
Comes back up. It's not truly a fault tolerant thing. It's not.
We have fault tolerance with Xyleap.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
This is HA, correct?
Okay. Perfect. All right. Thank you.
Yeah. So you can have both. You can have this will always run in Nutanix HA, but you can also pair with our Xyleap product for fault tolerance in the cloud.
Okay.
That'll be fully hydrated VM in Xy. Yep. Cool. Affinity roles, just like VMware, we can do infinity or anti-affinity roles. If you need VMs to be in separate nodes or you need the VMs to be together, you can set those rules as well. We do have built-in backup, right? Just like any other storage vendor. Again, I do recommend going with Veeam, Haiku, or another enterprise backup vendor. Anything that can back up ESXi, you can use. For AHV, right now it's Veeam, Haiku, Veritas, Commvault, Rubrik, Cohesity, more are coming on. But with the built-in snapshots, our RPOs and RTOs, depending what your SLAs are, out of the box, we can back up every hour. We do have a function called near synced backups, where we can back up within a minute or 5 minutes. So depending your SLAs is the mode we'll go with. We also do have connectors to AWS S3 where we can send replicated backups directly to S3. So again, it depends on your SLAs. We can go through the conversations for backup. We can do local, so it can back up to the local storage, or we can also replicate it to DR site, whether it be your own that you stand up or S3 on AWS, or again, our Xyleap product will be DR as a service, which creates a fault tolerance VM out in our cloud called Xi. We can do metro availability as well. So in the lab, you will create what we call protection domains. When you create a protection domain, all the VMs and data in that domain will be synchronous, and once it's updated, it'll replicate to a secondary site. So site 1 and site 2 will always be up to date within that protection domain that you guys will build in the lab. Cool. Question, concerns, comments on DR, or how to set up, or anything on Leap as well?
Hey, this is Sandeep. How can you do a test failover? I mean, if you want to, without taking down your primary data center, if you want to do a test for most of your production system, how do you do that?
Testing wise would be a Leap. It'll create another network IP addresses if you're doing dynamic. It'll do those fire drills and testing for you. Without Leap, Leap would be the answer to Nutanix if you want to do the fire drill testing.
Okay. So today we have we run on most of the Hyper-V stuff. So I have all replication is running across the different sites, and I can using ASR and sitting at home, I can fail over to different network and I can test entire production platform.
You do that with Leap, yes. And
Okay.
it depends on what backup vendor you go with. I think Veeam or Veeam or Haiku. I'll double check. Depending on the backup vendor you use, that's what we're going to leverage.
Okay, and we don't use any backup because it's all using the default replication, built-in replication solution.
Yeah. So yeah, the built-in Nutanix doesn't have test failover capabilities. Yeah, that's where the answer for that it would be either using our other product called Leap or third-party backup vendors.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good question. I like that one.
Yep. Any other question concern? DR, I know DR is definitely a topic for everyone.
Yeah, I was asking about the other one is ransomware. How do you protect from ransomware? If something happened to your system, entire system affected, how do you recover this? That's what my earlier question about the snap vault. We have a cold storage and it's like a readable copy and you cannot even touch that. So I can restore from that. Do you have any kind of feature in that?
Yeah. Multiple ways is not one, I guess, solution for that issue. Again, you can do a manual backup and then recover from there. With files, we also have files analytics that can detect any ransomware, anyone that logs into your environment that shouldn't, create firewalls. We have Flow that's built into Nutanix as well. That also does security for you. If you're familiar with NXX, that's our version of NXX in Nutanix called Nutanix Flow. Again, we also partner very heavily with Fortinet and Palo Alto for more added security.
Okay.
And again, it's above this class, but we can also set up a files bootcamp. Is usually the next step that customers go to is this AHV bootcamp, and they go to files bootcamp is the files analytics. If you ever use Varonis or Veritas Data Insight, it's similar to that, right? We can add it, we can connect to your Active Directory, see who logged into your environment, who made changes and who shouldn't be making changes. We can block certain users, block certain access, block certain ports. We can do a bunch of things added to security.
Okay.
Yep. Very good question. Very good question. Security is very important to us and to you guys for sure.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
One-click cluster upgrade. You're gonna hear me say one-click a lot, but as engineers, you know, it might be one or two to log in. Yeah. But upgrading for us is non-disruptive. So you can upgrade during production hours. You don't have to do it after work or during your weekends. Again, because all those multiple CVMs on each node, it's going to do a rolling upgrade, and it'll just HA and DRS over. So once we upgrade one, we'll just upgrade the other, and it'll just remotion back and forth. So we call it non-destructive manual upgrade. You can upgrade the firmware, the AOS, the hypervisor. We also do what we call NCC check. There's about 1,000 checks right now, more and more added. So it'll run through checks to make sure, let's say your database, if you're upgrading to the latest AOS version, will it work with your new databases? Will it work with VMware EXI? We run through all those checks for you ahead of time. We give you the warm and fuzzy that everything will work before you upgrade. And again, you can always create a backup right before you upgrade. In case anything happens, you can always revert back. But we added in those checks for another safe fill, the warm and fuzzies as well. Cool. Cross hypervisor replication DR.
Sorry, can I have that last slide back again, just for a quick second, please?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so in here,
Thank you.
you'll see in the lab, and I'll do a quick demo on it as well. You'll select the firmware, the AOS, the hypervisor, and I'll just upgrade. Within Nutanix, we have something called LCM as well, lifecycle management. That will also pass and upgrade all your different Nutanix products and firmware upgrades from there.
Right. Yeah. Thank you.
And even if you're running a Kubernetes cluster, bare metal.
It'll upgrade through LCM.
Okay.
The LCM is separate from this upgrade. This upgrades right the AOS and the hypervisor.
Okay.
Then you might see in the lab, or just log in and play around with it. Go through the LCM tab, and you see a different firmware upgrades from there through the LCM. We do see this with a lot of customers running VMware. A lot of times they have DR. Customers don't want to pay for more socket licenses for DR. And again, AHV is built in, so you have to pay for those socket licenses. We do see people replicating on-prem to DR to AHV. And then we're seeing a lot of people seeing the power of AHV and then make their own on-prem AHV as well. So that's where the adoption rate is increasing through that method. And then you can cross replicate from VMware to AHV, and then we can also do conversion from AHV to EXI, EXI to AHV, vice versa as well. So 2 methods we can do that. We can do it in flight, or we do it at rest. Once you move all the VMs over to Nutanix, we can convert it to AHV, or again, we can do it in flight as well. So two different methods we can do conversion. And we can convert back as well if needed. And now we can convert to AWS as well. Oh, I'll pause there. Question, concern, comments on conversion and data migration? The product behind the scene is called Nutanix Move, which does the data migration.
Nutanix Move. Sorry, Paul, how do you spell Xyleap?
XI, and then Leap, LEAP.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know how we came up with that name, so we have very interesting names.
Nutanix Move. All right.
Yep. And Nutanix Move is the data migration conversion tool.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay. Cluster expansion is very simple as well. I should have created a 3-node cluster, so whoever gets on it first will be able to do a 4th node expand. All this is you're connecting all the nodes to top of rack switch, so it does IPv6 auto discover, right? Adding a node will auto discover it, and then we'll expand out the cluster with a single click. And then your storage and your resource will expand. Again, we'll auto tier it. As you saw how a failure happens, similar scenario, we'll auto tier the environment once you expand your environment. We do have image services built in. Usually, IT admins will create another data store to house all your ISO images. We'll create that already for you. So you can house all your ISOs in the image services if you need to spin up VMs or create Windows machines. It'll all be here in the services. And you'll do this in the lab as well. We'll just make it a little more easier to use instead of creating your own data store. It's just in the services. Cool. We'll take a break. I'll go over Prism Central. So if you remember, I said Prism Element manages your cluster. Prism Central manages multiple Prism Element, hence multiple clusters in different environments. It does more than that. It has a lot of different functionalities in Prism Central. I'll go over XPlay, which is IT automation, machine learning, and XFit, and a bunch of other features that's in Prism Central that's not in Prism Elements. So let's take a quick 10-minute break. Let's get back at 11:30, and I'll do a quick demo for you guys on Prism Central.
Cool.
And then from there, we'll do labs. So let's come back in 11:30.
Thanks.
Yep. All right, it's 11:30. Let's see. Are you guys back?
I'm here.
Cool. Yeah, to grab a quick water bottle. Starting to lose my voice. Cool. Let me share my screen and we'll kick it off. Before we start, you guys receive you sent out the lab guides and stuff to them, Harvey?
I am in process. Got a few left to send right now.
Okay, no worries. Hey guys, while I do this quick demo, Harvey will send you the lab credentials to log in for labs. Feel free to do it on your own pace. Harvey and I, or at least I'll be here until maybe 2 or 3, but you have the labs until 11 p.m. tonight to play around with. It's a live Nutanix cluster in our data center you're logging into. So test around, play around. You don't have to stick with the script of the labs. You can deviate if you like. Yeah, you have until 11 p.m. tonight for the labs.
Great. And is there anything about performance, like having a look at performance? Because I always worry if the thing's running properly, if I'm sizing things correctly, if I'm not overtaxing the different resources. That's the only thing. It's easy in VMware, but in Nutanix it's a bit harder to see how it's performing and what the metrics really are, right?
It might not be in the labs, but you can play around with it. There are here, you can see my screen. Let's see if I can't get into elements.
Critical. That's not good. That word's never good in our business.
Yeah, it might not be instructions in the labs, but you can play around with all the different reporting tools.
Right.
And Harvey and I, we can also have a separate meeting with you to go over that. It's pretty simple. They're all there.
Oh, analysis. All right.
Yeah, you can create between metrics or entity, and then you can send the reporting to whoever you report to as well. So under analysis,
Yeah. Huh.
here it is. New, either do metrics or entity. And I'll just do test. So you can do by host, disk, storage pool, VMs, what have you.
All right.
And you can test.
So I could do one on Exchange and see how that's been functioning.
Yeah.
See if it needs more resources. And this is what you do to have a look at it, see if it needs more resources or. Remember, VMware used to have that command top, I think it was top. And you could see how the top, I guess the top statistics were doing there. They had different CLIs that you could do things with.
Yeah, you can do it all here. This is like a lab, so I don't know how much it's running. But you can do it in your environment through analysis and run the reportings here. So you can do by entity, you can do metrics, right? You can choose a lot of different things here.
Great.
Cool. And what I'm going to show you as well is a couple. Let me get back here. Do you have Prism Central in your environment, Sandro?
No, no. At the time we were looking at it, we only had one platform. Now we have 2. So I just use the Prism, just the regular Prism for both.
Okay. So Prism Element, I'll go to analysis. But if you are able to get Prism Central, I think it might be Pro license that you might have to get.
Create default charts. There we go. Oh. Yeah, no, it's a different license. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so that's what I was gonna demo for you guys because it won't be in the labs. If you have Prism Central Pro,
Paul, it actually ties back to what I was asking at the beginning about using Veeam for moving VMs around. Prism will do that, right? Prism will actually allow me to do some protection of the VMs. Is that right? I got that right? I get Prism Central. Can I like protect one VM and say, listen, put a piece of it on the other platform, and if it starts to fail on one, bring it up on the other one?
so there's stuff there is a built-in, right? Like it went over on the slide. You can replicate to DR, and then you have to rebuild it yourself from there, or go with Xileap. That'll automatically create a fault tolerance VM for you.
Yeah, it's for the DMS system. We've lost our risk is pretty high because in a flat file system, I can literally light VMs right out of the backups and say, here are the files. But when it comes to a document management system, there's 6 or 7 servers, 3 of them have to be running. If 3 aren't running, you can't access any files or anything. So yeah, our risk profile is increased.
You wouldn't per se need Prism Central. It would make it easier to manage, but it's whatever Veeam can do for you. You can leverage Veeam for that as well.
Yeah, it's more tightly packed with an API into VMware than it is with Nutanix. But I haven't finished reading yet on it.
It'll be the same. If you're using EXI, it'll be the same thing. Nutanix, just think of it as just a
but the IP talks to vMotion directly from Veeam. They've actually written that API that it actually uses vMotion, and it doesn't. There's no. For instance, there's no real vMotion in Nutanix. It's the stuff's done in the background, but I'm not sure. They don't really have anything because their documentation always talks about Veeam. You right click on it and it says, migrate. They call it migrate in Veeam.
Yes.
And literally it's an API call to vMotion in VMware. They don't have anything for Nutanix. That's why I'm asking about that. And so far I haven't been getting very good response from Veeam on it, but it's early days yet. Thanks.
Yeah, I'll dig that in the back end. I want to learn that myself as well. But yeah, the Veeam team will be the best for that. And again, if you have the budget for it, I would recommend as well Leap.
Yeah,
because it creates that fault tolerance in our cloud for you.
Xileap.
That could be something you can use while we figure out Veeam.
Yeah, we've got data sovereignty concerns here. With the Xileap I've read, it says that you can do Nutanix's iCloud, but the data can't leave Bermuda, so it has to be something we have to have on-prem, or at least in locally in the country.
So you can't. So it's something called just Leap and not Xileap. You can stand up another Nutanix cluster somewhere in Bermuda.
Yeah. And
it's the same function, but on-prem, not in our cloud, but it's in your Nutanix cluster.
And it's called Nutanix Leap.
It's just Leap.
Oh, all right,
so
great.
You can do that as well, yeah. So you can.
So I can buy some space in someone's data center here locally, and then just stick this piece in it.
Yes, but you would need your own hardware. Right. So as opposed to Xi, which is our cloud or our infrastructure.
Yeah.
You just build out your own infrastructure, and as Leap just runs within your infrastructure.
Thank you.
Yeah. Cool. So we'll dive into this demo. Again, this is kind of above the scope of the class, but I do want you guys to know about Prism Central. Again, you can see here Prism Central manages multiple clusters. So you can have one cluster running AHV, another cluster running VMware EXI, another cluster running Hyper-V. You can run multiple hypervisor clusters and manage through Prism Central. You just have to log in to each one if you want to manage them separately. But everything you can do in Prism Element, you can do in Prism Central as well. So you can see here, I can build out my storage, my data store. I can build VMs as well from Prism Central. So I'm going to build a quick VM for you. And I'm going to do a quick demo of IT operation management called XPlay to automatically add more resources to the environment. And again, that's a function of Prism Central Pro. But I'll show you how easy it is to create a VM. Just one click here. And again, you're going to do this in the lab, but in Prism Element instead. But I'm just showing you can do it in Prism Central and then having to log into each Prism element. So let's call it XenTegra _VM. Keep in mind here, so I'm going to do a demo where I'm going to add more memory automatically to the environment. So let's give it 3 for now, but keep in mind is number 3 here.
Just a quick note too, while he's doing this, everybody should have an email at this point with lab credentials. Please let me know if you do not have that email from me.
Cool. And we'll go over after this demo how to log in case anyone wants to issues as well. Check your spam folder as well. A lot of times the email goes to spam folder. But you'll do it in the lab. When you click on a task disk, this will let you choose the data store that you create. So in the lab, first you create your data store, container, and you create your VMs and you house that VM in that data store. So you do that all in the lab as well. Okay, so you can see all the VMs that I have. XenTegra VM test is created. So let's say, for example, you have 100 of these XenTegra VM tests, right? If you want to add more memory to each of these, you have to manually go to each 100 of them and add more gigabits of memory. We can automate that process and add them to all of them. So let's go over that. Let's go over XPlay. So you're going to go under Operations, Playbook. We have a couple playbooks already set up already for you guys, but you can also create your own. You can also do scripting as well into this. I've seen a lot of cool scripting that people have done. A lot for websites, right? They'll automatically add more load balancers if there's too many people logging into and slowing down the network or the websites. They can add more load balancers and whatnot. Let's create a brand new one. Again, this is called XPlay. You can do a manual or a triggered event. Let's say a trigger event, for example, a VM uses more memory than is allocated. Normally, a VM might shut down on its own. We'll trigger the event, shoot you an email alert knowing that it went over, and it'll just add more memory automatically to that VM through that triggered alert event. But I'm going to do manual just to show on demo today.
And this orchestration is available with the with Prism Central, right?
Correct. I believe that you have to get the Pro and not Starter, but
right.
I can double check on that.
Thank you.
But I'll do manual just for you to see an example of what you could do. Again, the possibilities are endless of what you can do on IT operation management and XPlay. I'm going to go ahead and manipulate my VM. Add actions. So you always want to acknowledge the alert, shoot an email. I know I've seen Slack in here somewhere. You can it'll also shoot you a Slack. I won't do this because I always keep annoying me on a lab. So first thing you might want to do is power off the VM. That's step 1. Again, you're setting up a playbook step by step of all the actions. I'm going to show you how to add memory. So VM add, you can see all the different ones here, but I'll add VM Add memory, where to go? I see reduce memory. Oh, here it is. I'll add one every time. You can set a parameter limit so it doesn't keep taking all right in the memory of your resources. I'm going to max out at 5 for this demo. Once we do that, we'll go ahead and power back on the VM. Again, you can add more and more steps as you need, whatever actions you need to do. I'm just going to do a small, simple one for this demo. And we'll go ahead and save and close. Give it a name. Make sure you hit enable. And let's go ahead and save. Cool. So there it is, the playbook. It's a manual trigger instead of an alert trigger. Let's go back to our VM list. And again, just imagine you have 100 of these VMs. It's going to take a lot of time to add more memory to it one by one. But if you select all of them, go under Actions, run Playbook, and all the playbooks that you create will be listed here. Since I already just created one, we'll go ahead and run it. So again, what it's going to do, I forgot to power it on, but it will go ahead and power off the VM, add one more gigabyte of memory, and it'll power on the VM for me. So keep in mind, there's 3 here. Oh, there it is. It added the memory, and it'll go ahead and power on here in a second. Question, concern, comments on XPlay?
That's cool.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
So this hammers home a lot with customers for sure. And I think it's probably one of our most powerful tool with Nutanix is that we have so many new announcements coming up that I think this is getting kind of drowned out. But this is very powerful. I think it's the most powerful tool we have at Nutanix. It's the XPlay. And you can also do failover through XPlay as well. If a VM fails, you can set scripting. Say move over to AWS, power it on to AWS. The possibilities are kind of endless. Again, we have pre-built plays, but you can write your own script to do whatever you need to do in your environment. Cool. And on operation, Senator, I think you kind of alluded to this. So we can also do resource planning. Let's say, for example, you have a new project coming on in the next 6 months. Say you have another 500 employees that you're adding to your VDI infrastructure. Are those 500 users, is that going to be able to fit to your current environment, or do we need to expand out? You can actually test that out within scenarios. So let's go to new scenario. So we use an existing cluster. I only have one, but you see you can target out when your new project will be from 6 months to a year. I'll go ahead and do 6 months. It will show you once I added a new workload, if it has enough capacity there. So we'll go ahead and add a brand new one. Any workload you like, future projects, more VMs, VDI, Splunk, Zen desktops, what have you. I'm just going to add VDI because it's simple to demo. I'm gonna 500 because that usually freaks out because there's a lot. And this will simulate in the future. So you see in the next 6 months, you're not gonna have enough capacity for it. So hit recommend, and you can go to your Nutanix rep or XenTegra and see what it recommends you upgrading or adding more nodes to. But it can tell you ahead of time that new project will fit or not fit the current environment. Question, concern, comments? This takes a little bit to shoot back a recommendation. But again, this is for you as a customer to see and not Nutanix or XenTegra. So you as a customer has the power to see this as well. So it's recommending me to NX 3067, two of those for from a 500 VDI user I'm adding from my next project. Question, concern, comments? Cool. And also capacity runway. This is part of our XFit machine learning. So again, it's not a real environment. So it's saying 365 days, but if it was a real environment, it'll say maybe in a month or two, you're gonna run out of memory or storage. It'll let you know ahead of time how much runway you have left in your environment. So let's take a look. Again, if it's a real environment, you'll see a graph here. And then you can see in the future what it's predicting that you're going to consume. It might take a little bit because nothing's running, but you see today what's being used today. And then you can drag into the future and see what machine learning it's predicting that you're going to use up. You can also hit on optimize resources. So this will show you any over provisioned VMs, any inactive VMs you can power off, any constraint or noisy boy VMs that are hogging resources you can go in and manage. This is there for you as well under Business Central Pro. And then it gives you a quick rundown of how much time you have left and the future growth. Question, concern, comments?
No, looks good.
Awesome, awesome.
Yeah, it's a good tool. Sizing, good tool.
Yep. And again, this is for you as a customer to see it, and you can see that it's not just Nutanix or XenTegra, right? Pitching another solution. You can see that as a customer as well. So very powerful tool. There are other operations within Business Central that I won't go over because it take too much time. We can do another class. But you can see if I go to network security, flow is in here. Operation, we can do cost management with Beam. If you're using AWS, we can do cost management in AWS as well. So you can see your spending in the cloud. You can also see if you're over provisioning in the cloud, you're using T2 micro or whichever AMI t-shirt size you're using, it can recommend you a better size. A lot we can do, and it's all built into Business Central there for you. So Security Central is built in, cost analysis is built in, XPlay with IT operation management is built in, and then you can see Carbon, Files, Calm is built in as well, and Objects. Calm is another powerful product. It's our automation tool. This is where you can create your container and then you can move it from on-prem to the cloud and patch all your applications. Again, we have a whole separate bootcamp for Calm, but it can be managed through Business Central as well. So a lot of products that we have will be centralized here in Business Central. But in the labs today, you'll go over Prism Element. I'll just go through this real quick. But you'll be doing this in the lab. But if you go into the gearbox, this is where you can see where you can upgrade your software. So this is the one-click upgrade software, AOS, file server, hypervisor, NCC check. You can see you can configure your CVMs from here. If this was running VMware, you can select vCenter connections. Where'd it go? I was looking for upgrade. Oh, no, sorry, upgrade expansion. No, but you can do cluster expansion from here as well. I think they move it to a different location. But you can also do expansion from hardware. Hardware section as well. But you can see here, we're running a one host, one block environment. You should have a 3-node cluster. I think this is a demo site, so it doesn't have, it's not letting me expand, but in the labs, you will be able to. And go to the gearbox, there should be a section that says expand cluster within the general section. And you can do cluster expand from there. Going back, again, VM, you create your VM. Same steps that you saw I did on Prism Central. In the lab, it will ask you to create a Windows VM. There's an optional lab to do Linux. If you have time, do Linux, but do the Windows VM first, just to run through and complete the labs. There are extra steps for Linux. I don't want you guys to get boggled down by it. So when it does come to that section, please do the Windows machine create instead of Linux to start out. And if you have time, we'll go over Linux. Data protection. This is where you'll create your protection domain that I mentioned on the PowerPoint. You'll create protection domain name. I'll call it XenTegra for now. And that's where you'll pick which VMs you want to be in that certain group to be clumped together. Cool. Any questions, concern, comments? I won't go through too deep because I want you guys to play around with this in the labs. But you'll be doing anything here on Prism Elements. Question, concern, comments? And again, go into storage. Storage pool should already be created. You create your storage container. Go through the steps. Go back, create your VM, and then have that VM housed in that data store you created. Sorry, the container you created. Feel free to play around. Go to analysis. I remember someone asking about LCM. LCM is right here. You can see all the different firmware upgrades whenever it loads. Cool. Question, concern, comments? If not, Harvey, if you don't mind getting everyone connected to the labs.
Yep, not a problem. So everybody should have the email that I sent with the instructions and the credentials. If you are looking at it, well, actually, before I even jump into that, does anybody not have an email from me? All right, I will take silence as a good thing. If you're looking at the email, the first thing that you'll see is the link for the lab instructions. You can just click that and sign in there. Lessons learned from past experience with these. If for whatever reason you don't know your password or it's not allowing you to log in, please just try to register with a personal email address. This is just to get the the lab instructions, so it won't hurt you on anything else. No issues there. And please utilize Google Chrome if you have it, if you can. We normally get the best results out of that. After that, the next thing is to log into the Nutanix Frame VDI desktop. Each of you have your own username and password right up under the link to get to the login site. And if you will just hop to the login site and use those credentials I gave you to log in, then you should be able to get past the authentication and then launch a desktop. Please, as you go through this, please let me know if for any reason that is not the case for you.
Are you, are you able to share your screen, Harvey, and show what it looks like to log into Frame?
Sure, I can. Give me just a second.
And then once you're in Frame, open up a Google browser. And Harvey sort of sent you the CVIP, the cluster IP. Type the whole address out, every single letter and word, and it'll log you right into Prism element.
Yes, and in most cases, you can copy and paste from the email into that window. That's in most cases, not all. All right, can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Yep.
Perfect. Let's see if I can do this right.
Yeah, you guys each have a unique username, so you guys don't step on each other's toes.
Yes. See, now the pressure's on. Let me go make sure I type in the, nope, I didn't type in the right thing. Arg. Pressure's on.
Let me log in too, see if I can get in.
All right, what am I doing wrong here? I'm obviously not doing a good job.
No, that's why I want to check. We've been having issues on, we just have to reset the password, but I was hoping not to.
No, it's me. I put a dash in there. It's my fault.
Nice.
All right, hold on. Paul, what are you doing to me?
For what it's worth, I'm getting the same on my end with the user ID and password.
Okay, let me test here. For some reason, they keep resetting the password.
I was gonna say because I tested this.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like,
I don't know why I don't know what time they reset it, or why or how it happened, but it's been happening lately. Let me test it out. Yeah, if you guys don't mind, we can always do a 10-minute break. But all it is, I just have to change the password. Harvey, do you know which HPOC we're using?
This is RTP POC 20.
Oh, 20, what the heck? I have POC 012, 03, 5, and 15 sent to you.
Yes. Yeah, the one.
That could be why you're not logging in.
Because it was Say that again. Maybe I misunderstood what you just said. I
I
thought
should
you
have
were
sent
calling
you.
off. Go ahead.
I should have sent you POC 12,
12?
03, 05, and 15. So I didn't send you 20. That might be an older one. Might be why no one's logging in.
Yeah, that's my fault.
Wait, it's
I don't-
Friday. It's Friday, right?
It is Friday.
Yeah, I'm feeling way off today. All right, hold on. I can fix this.
No worries. That's why I
Okay.
have 4 clusters
So-
reserved in case anything happens.
Yep. So this is an easy fix. Where I told you guys your username was POC020, it is actually 015. Everything else is exactly the same. And I don't know
Mine
how
is-
I did that.
Mine is listed as 015, and I am getting the incorrect user ID or password.
Okay, let me see. So you guys are on 005, correct?
015.
Yeah. Minus 0152, and I'm still getting a invalid.
Okay. So
Okay.
then maybe I was
Let me
just
test it out.
typing in the wrong thing for me. Gotta love it.
Okay, I want to test out user 20. So no one used 20 for now.
Wow. Okay.
So I'm using RTP POC 015 user 20.
Yep.
Password is NX2Tech 753 bang.
Right.
Okay, let me fix it. I know which one it is now.
Okay. It gave you the same thing?
Yeah, I don't know why it keeps happening. It always works in the morning.
Yes.
This
I don't know. That's
somehow it
weird.
always gets resetted. Sorry, give me 1 second, guys. Apologies. Let's take a 10-minute break and I'll fix it when we come back.
That document I sent you, I'd like you to find it in DMS, and I'd like you to attach it to an email, and I'd like you to email the whole company using BCC. Yeah, all users are, no, BCC is blind carbon copy. It's 2 copy, and then there's TO.
Hey, Harvey.
Yes, sir.
So I made the password. I'll put it on chat as well. It's XenTegra with capital T. 1, 2, 3, bang.
All right, let's give it a run.
But still keep the password will still be used for when you get into present element. Oddly enough. Don't ask. I don't know what's going on. It's been happening as of late.
Oh gosh, here I was typing in the other password. Like, don't worry, I don't think it's you yet. I'll still blame me.
No, it's our system. Is it still not working? Test out.
It didn't just now, but that might be my fault. Like literally might be my fault. Don't worry. Oh, I can't go back to it because I'm sharing my screen. Let me stop sharing my screen. Oh, perfect time for my computer to go crazy on me too.
Okay, so I got in, so I know it works. Let me share my screen.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I hope everybody's having a much better time at it than I am right now.
Can you close out the share screen?
That's what I was trying to do. Here, I'll just close it. There we go. I don't know, it just locked up on me.
Yeah, so
Okay,
I got
perfect.
in.
Yeah, mine was my fault. I forgot the exclamation at the end.
All right, is anyone using 19? I can demo getting how to get into 19.
No, go ahead. I was just trying 19. So you can take that. Give me just a sec, Jalil. I'll get you your username.
It keeps this automatically logging me in. But yeah, when you guys put in your username,
Yeah.
Put XenTegra. I put it in the chat. It's XenTegra with a capital T. 1, 2, 3, bang.
That's what? That's the password?
That's
Correct.
the password, yes.
So I'm using user 02 and no dice on Chrome. RTP and all that POC 15 user 02 at nutanixdc.local. And you're saying the password is XenTegra 1, 2, 3 bang, right?
It's with a capital T.
Capital T, yes.
Yeah. Let's get that.